Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be comparing two sets using standard deviation. Here they say which of the following sets has the greater standard deviation, and they give us two data sets. So what we need to begin by doing is entering each of these data sets into its own separate list. So we'll put X in L1 and Y in L2. So I want you to pause the video here and do that. Okay, so you already have your data, your X data in L1 and your Y data in L2. And as you can see here, and even by looking over here and counting up data values, set X only has 5 data values while set Y has 6 data values. So this is important. Alright, so now we're going to press Stat and we're going to arrow over to Calc. Now we've been using 1var stats a lot, and you might be tempted to try 2var stats if you know that 2var stats normally deals with 2 data sets. Let's go ahead and try that so I can show you why it's not always wise. So I'm going to choose number 2. It's going to ask me to enter my X list. That's L1, so I press second and 1 and then hit enter. And it says where's my Y list? Well, that's in L2, so I press second and 2 for L2. And press enter. It asks for a frequency list. We don't have one of those. And then we press calculate. And then I get an error, dimension mismatch. The reason why I get this error is because these two data sets do not have the same number of data values. So you can only use 2var stats when both of your lists have the same number of data values. So they would both have to be 6 long, or they'd both have to be 5 long. When they're not both the same length, you have to use 1var stats and just apply it to each list. So let's quit this. Let's clear that. Let's go back to stats, arrow over to calc, and choose number 1, 1var stats. I'm going to run my 1var stats first on my X data, so that's L1, second and 1. I don't have a frequency list, and so press calculate. So I'm only interested in standard deviation. They don't tell us that these are samples from a greater population. They just tell us that they're 2 data sets. So I'm going to assume they are the population. So I'm going to use sigma x. In this case, it's 2.8284 if I round it to 4 decimal places. Now I need to go back and find sigma y. So I press stat, arrow over to calc, choose number 1 again. This time my list is L2. So I press second and 2, enter. Don't have a frequency list, enter, and now I press calculate. Okay, so for my second list, my sigma y is 3.415, and if I round that to the 4th decimal place, that's going to become 7. So set y has a larger standard deviation than set x. And that's not necessarily because it has more data values. It's because it actually is spread across a larger range of data values. If we look at the range, 13 minus 3, that's a range of 10 for y. And if I look at the range over here, 10 minus 2, that's a range of 8 for x. So the range is kind of a little guess in that which one, the one with the larger range usually has the larger standard deviation as well. Okay, so that's how you find standard deviation for 2 different data sets when those data sets have a different number of data values. You still need to result to 1var stats. And matter of fact, I always use 1var stats because it gives way more data than 2var stats does. Until next time.